Jon Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas, lead counsel at Velie Law, and welcome to Immigration Solutions in the coronavirus. Immigration Solutions during coronavirus. So look, I'm here. This is a special show. Hello, Nico. We were going to do this earlier, but the problem was that we had a technical difficulty and we had to stop. So this was supposed to be earlier. I see Mark Fraze on there, Namdi Arams. Good to see you guys. We're doing immigration solutions during the coronavirus, and today is a special how-to. This is how to practice law in Hawaiian shirt. So you might want to have a Hawaiian shirt ready because this is very, very interesting information. So the first thing you need to do to practice law in a Hawaiian shirt is you need to get a Hawaiian shirt. So I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt, but you know, any Hawaiian shirt will do. As a matter of fact, this Hawaiian shirt says Jamaica on it. So technically, it's not a Hawaiian shirt, but it is a Hawaiian shirt. And if you really think about it, practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt is really a philosophy, isn't it? So maybe you're practicing law in a t-shirt, or maybe you're practicing law outside, or maybe you're practicing law on a beach. It's really a philosophy. So most lawyers like to wear a suit and a tie, and they're very stuffy. So practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt is, first of all, don't be stuffy, all right? So let me show you a how-to. So first, you put on a Hawaiian shirt. The second thing you do, if it's a Friday, is you get a beer. So I've got a beer, I've got a Bud Light. Now, if you subscribe and like my YouTube channel enough, maybe Bud Light will actually pay us. Ernesto Puche says, where's the leotard episode? Well, I don't know, Ernesto. You know, as a Puchangatang, which you are, maybe you wear leotards, but I don't wear leotards very often. But I do wear Hawaiian shirts, and I really like that. Steve McCaleb's out there. He likes Hawaiian shirts. Chad London, great rugby player there, pro rugby player. Good to see him out there. So first, a beer. So hoist to all of you. Cheers. It's Friday afternoon. If you're watching us, you have survived the coronavirus so far, and that's something to drink to. Today's an interesting day. Today's the day that the world surpassed 1 million cases of coronavirus. Nothing to be proud of in a rough show. And we're at over 250,000 in the United States. If we go back a month, remember when it was 15? I mean, here we are, and this thing is just going nuts. I was just watching another one of the daily briefings. It looks like we're projecting at 93,000 in the United States deaths, and I think we're at 5,000 right now. So, look, it's been a tough week, but the next couple of weeks are going to be really tough. And so, sheltering in place, very important. Masks are very important. Really interesting thing on masks. I mean, you can make your own now, they're saying. There's some people out there, and I saw for the first time, you know, they say they don't have enough masks, but Facebook today, lots of people selling masks. So now some of them are like $35 a piece, but you know, what's your life worth? What, right? So you might want to go out there and get yourself a mask or make one. Sheldon Fernandez, good to see you out there, Sheldon. Sheldon's an extraordinary genius in the virtual reality world. Cheers, Sheldon. We're having a beer. We're practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt. Now, I've only told you the first part of practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt, and that's put on a Hawaiian shirt or have the right philosophy. Well, so there's a lot of examples of what you can do. Brent Sanders out there, Sasha Prima Shaw. It's always good to see her. We were on a panel together for the Seminole Freedmen and all the Freedmen at Oklahoma City University from Sasha's alma mater. That was great stuff. So anyway, what do you do after you put your Hawaiian shirt on? Well, you practice law. So for example, if someone was not going to pay their bill and you had a contract, you would pick up the phone and say, we're going to court. And if you do that in a Hawaiian shirt, you're practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt. So it's really not that hard, but it's all how you do it. It's all the style. If you're an immigration attorney like I am, for example, someone might come in and say, look, I'm a foreign national. I'm really good at something like Chad London was at rugby, or is at rugby, I should say. And I'd say, okay, Chad, what would you want to do? Well, I want to play rugby. I want to play rugby in Denver. And then what you do is you would put on a Hawaiian shirt, and then you'd assemble the package of material, write some briefs, some expert letters, get some, testimonials from some great people, you know, maybe Gary Gold of the U.S. national team, and you'd put that all together, and you'd be in your Hawaiian shirt, and you'd package it up, and you'd send it in, and that's how you practice law in a Hawaiian shirt. So we'll come up with some other examples later, but that's where we are. So hope everybody's doing well. Today, Friday, Jeff Galerter's watching. Jeff Galerter, the caretaker of 6A. A really incredible person, 6A that is. Jeff's pretty cool on his own, but 6A was one of my favorite humans of all time. We went to Israel together. Really good stuff. So look, what's going on? What's going on in the internet? Well, a lot of things. We're learning a lot of people that are sick with the disease. Boris, the Prime Minister of England, has got the coronavirus. Prince Charles has the coronavirus. Kevin Durant has the coronavirus. John Prine, my favorite musician, he has the coronavirus, and he has lung pneumonia in both lungs. Tough stuff there for Jon Prine. Really hoping he pulls through that. His wife apparently was sick, and she's gotten better, so that's good news. Anyway, that's how that goes. Lauren Bravo Puderman's there. The better half of Gary Puderman. It's good to see you, Lauren, from L.A. Seems like you keep putting another kid in another great college every day. That's awesome. In any case, Gas Lab Jimmy has asked the question, does this work with sombreros? No, Jimmy, you cannot practice law in a sombrero. Everybody knows that. It's illegal in most places, and a lot of people are arrested for that. So I'm sorry, sombrero lawyering, just not cool. Hawaiian shirts, though, cool, even if they're from Jamaica. So some other things, we saw a bad death today, and I think it's going to be kind of lost in the shuffle, but Bill Withers. Bill Withers, Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. One of the greatest songs of all time. I can remember I used to work at a record store called Sound Warehouse. Back from my junior year in high school to my sophomore year in college, I worked at Sound Warehouse. That was a cool place. A lot of famous OU athletes used to come in. Wayman Tisdale would come in and ask us to play some songs, and he'd do these great sort of moves with his buddies. But one day, I'd come in, and my favorite music at that time was late 60s rock and roll. You know, the Grateful Dead, the Stones, Jim Morrison and the Doors. And Vicky Hall, who was the manager at the time, threw on Bill Withers and played Ain't No Sunshine. And, it just got me. I was buffing the floors, and I'm singing at the top of my lungs. And I can't remember a lot of songs that the first time you sing it, it just hits you the way that one does. So Bill Withers, cheers to you. Sorry you're gone. It's a rainy, cold, 32-degree day in Norman, Oklahoma, and I think that's because you passed on. You were a great man, and there ain't no sunshine today, and that's for sure. Tom Kindly's there. Tom Kindly with the New England Free Jacks. Tom, cheers to you, my friend. We're having a beer. It's Friday afternoon. It's happy hour. Talking about immigration during the coronavirus. Not a lot of new news in immigration today. Some yesterday. They said they may try to reopen some USCIS offices May 4th. Interesting thing I did find out, though. A client of mine came in today, or didn't come in, called today. There's no coming in, right? He called today, and he has an E2 business. Now, an E2 is if you invest $100,000 into a U.S. company and hire U.S. Employees, you can get a visa, right? It's good as long as the company is viable. Pretty excellent thing that these folks are doing. So, client of mine called in. He said, can I get the payroll protection plan? There was a question on the questionnaire that asked if I was a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, and I'm neither one of those, right? And I said, well, wow, that's a tough question. He goes, look, I started a company in the United States. I invested in this company in the United States. You mean they're not going to cover me to cover my payroll of American citizens? And I said, well, that's tough stuff. So anyway, he called back, and he said he talked to his bank, and they said they're going to give him the money, so that's great things. Hey, JT Thatcher's back. JT turns into a lot of these. I always have a shout out to JT because I remember a good friend of mine at Vectrix Corporation in the year 2000 sponsored the Home Depot College Football Awards, right? And we did the back, where I was a legal counsel for that company back then, started by Okies. And that was the year that a whole lot of Oklahomans won a whole lot of awards, right? We had Heupel, was our quarterback at OU that time, and JT Thatcher won one of those national awards, and that was a good stuff. And JT was a hell of a guy, running back kicks and punts, and I was really happy to see him turn up to this. It's really cool. We see Brian Scroggins is here. It's good to see all of you guys. You know, I don't know how much you have interest in immigration, but it's always good to see you and have a little fun and talk. You know, we're looking, we had our first kind of rough week in America, or the roughest week we've had so far. Really not looking towards the next couple of them. They're talking about the peak in the next couple of weeks in New York, and looking at these guys building massive morgues and, you know, putting freezer trucks to put dead bodies in. That's no fun at all, man. But none of us have been here before, right? We're living a movie, one of those movies about the apocalypse right now, and we're living it. But it's, you know, it's us, and it doesn't have the dramatic music and stuff like that. It's just happening, and it's happening. It's the slowest train wreck of all time. Well, another thing we heard yesterday, Joe Exotic has coronavirus. Can you believe that? Well, kind of, right? I mean, Joe Exotic was the first superstar of the Corona era, right? If anybody have watched that, we watched all of it at my office, and you can't get enough of the Joe Exotic world. And Carol Baskins, there's a great song out there that I just saw by a country western singer that is just hilarious. So you might check that out if you see it. But you know, apparently Joe's fourth husband was talking the other day that he there was the disease in the prison he was in, and now he's got it. And of course, Joe's pretty bummed out about it, as you might imagine any of us would be. But I tell you what, it's just you know, you want to keep watching this stuff. Why don't we just get a camera and just keep watching this show? We want to see what happened to that guy. The guy with the Tigers in South Carolina. Apparently he's being arrested, or was arrested, for killing off tigers. And of course there's Carol Baskin, still at large after killing her husband and feeding her to the tigers. She's still there. And I was trying to explain this show to somebody that hadn't watched it, and it's like you have to hate all of them, right? You hate everybody, but then you hate more of them than the others. And then because they hate each other, then you actually sympathized with the one that you don't hate as much as the other ones. So it's just an incredible show. I've never seen anything like it, and that's where we are. So look, Rick Tepker, my professor, Rick Tepker, actually sponsored me to be a member of the U.S. Supreme Court, and I got to actually draft 3 briefs to that, and got to argue a couple of cases in front of 2 of the last 3 guys that have been nominated to the Supreme Court. We all remember Kavanaugh. I got to argue in front of Kavanaugh and actually win a case on the Cherokee Freedmen, and that was really cool, really fun. The other one's Garland, right? Garland will always be an asterisk in the Supreme Court because he was the justice that Barack Obama appointed, but Mitch McConnell wouldn't even let him get in front of the Senate. So I got to argue in front of those 2 guys, thanked to by Professor Rick Tepker. And Professor Tepker taught me, along with Randy Coyne, another friend of mine and professor, about the law of AIDS, right? And when I started law school in the 90s, AIDS was the terror going through our country at that point. But nothing like we're going through today. So it'll be interesting if there'll ever be a case of law and the COVID-19 virus. I don't know. What do you think, Professor Tepker? Maybe a little early on that, but it'll really be interesting to see what happens to our country following this thing. I think we'll be resilient. I think we'll jump back, but there's going to be a lot of jobs lost and a lot of life that's lost, and it's going to be a different world on the other side. Can't wait to be on the other side. We've talked about it today. You know, I mean, we're all, you know, knock on wood, we don't lose anybody close to us, but with the numbers the way they're going, that's a tough thing. So in any case, we're here. I'm Jon Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas. We're talking about the COVID virus and immigration, and it's Friday. We're having a beer. We're practicing law in our Hawaiian shirt. Professor Tepker, have you ever practiced law in Hawaiian shirt? It's a very much a freeing experience, I have to tell you. I've never walked into court in a Hawaiian shirt, but I wear them all the time, and you know what? It just makes me feel better. I think the ultimate goal of mine in clothing at work is if you can get to a full toga, right? I mean, the toga, it really says something. Like, if you're in a toga, that means that you are such a master of your universe that you don't care what anybody you work with thinks or what your clients think. So we're not there yet. Hawaiian shirt is on the way, but a Hawaiian shirt just makes me feel better. It's really a state of mind. I think if you have a Hawaiian shirt on, you just feel differently than if you're in a suit and tie. So you might try it. You might try it. Now, I was asked earlier by Gas Lamp Jimmy whether or not you could practice law in a sombrero, and we shot that down. That's not possible. That's completely illegal and wrong. But practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt. So I don't know if there's other professions you can practice in a Hawaiian shirt. We've seen that Jimmy Buffett showed that you can be a rock and roll / country western singer in a Hawaiian shirt, and that worked well for him. Matter of fact, I think he made an entire industry out of it and a lot of money, and you got to appreciate that. Matter of fact, the first time I ever saw Jimmy Buffett, I've loved Jimmy Buffett. He was my dad, turned me on to him back in the days of a pencil thin mustache. I think it was called a white sport coat and a Pink's Crustacean. That was the name of his album. And I always looked at him as a philosopher. I remember when I was moving from Los Angeles to Berkeley, driving up Highway 1, not knowing what the new adventure had for me. I had a 1984 Rabbit diesel and a Kraco stereo and one tape, and that was Jimmy Buffett. And he just spoke to me. He's been my philosopher. And I was driving along, and I get up to Berkeley, California. My first day there. It's raining. It's cold. It's January, and I was on my way to John Ringman's house. Now, John Ringman today is a genius. What is he? He is a brain surgeon, right? I mean, he literally is a brain surgeon. So anyway, I go to Ringman's house, and he invites me in. I leave everything in the car because I'm from Oklahoma. I leave the door open because I'm from Oklahoma. And go in, he cooks up some spaghetti, and we come back out, and there's my car, and someone had bashed in the window, stolen my Kraco stereo with my Jimmy Buffett cassette, left all the stuff in the back, and it rained all over it, and John said one thing: welcome to Berkeley. So that was my introduction to a world in which you have to lock things. Unfortunately, I've been jaded ever since, and now I'm a lawyer, and that's just jading all the way around. I see that Jamie Blair's there. Wow, it's my wife, Pam Battle. She hates Hawaiian shirts. Love you, Pam. But Hawaiian shirts, that's where it's all at. Doug Miller, he's there. I think Doug Miller might wear a Hawaiian shirt from time to time, but I see him in a suit and tie. He always dresses up nicely, and that's good to see. And maybe his Hawaiian shirt is a suit. Whatever makes you feel good. Every so often I'll wear one. I always try to wear a jacket when I'm on here, but around the office, it can be a little bit more casual. And on that, it's really exciting. So there's another guy who's been doing videos like me that we're going to do a show on Monday. So we're going to do one. We're going to put it on my channel. We're going to put it on his channel. So this is kind of fun stuff where, we're just kind of rambling on about law and life and all those other things that it's starting to catch on. So it's good things. So other cool things. What's been happening out there? Well, talked about John Prine and Kevin Durant and Tom Hanks all catching the coronavirus. Luckily, we haven't heard of any of those folks passing yet. But one thing that was really sad was a video today I saw as I was flipping through the channels. And it was by this bus driver. And he shoots this video, and it all starts with this video, and he's just going on about how rude and irresponsible it was that people getting on his bus would just, come on coughing all over everybody. 4 days later, he died. So just think about that, right? I mean, they're talking about is wear a mask so you don't know if you have this virus right now. So who knows who coughed on him, but he obviously did because he ranted on about it in his video. But coughed on him. 4 days later, the bus driver dies, right? Guy, wasn't even my age. So I tell you, man, this stuff's for real. There's some tough stuff going on there. I hope you don't know anybody in this. I reported earlier that my mother on Saturday was running a fever. She's 82 years old. She had a cough. I mean, met the whole criteria. We go into the minor emergency clinic. They call it urgent care here. And got our masks. We got our N95 masks on. But I tell you, there is nothing that makes you more nervous than walking into a medical facility right now. So God, hats off and cheers to our medical professionals right now. Those folks were all in there. I thanked them profusely. I think, thank you for showing up to work. But I'm there and I'm like, uh-oh, I see a doorknob. Somebody else with COVID-19's probably touched this doorknob. So there I am with my t-shirt, N95 t-shirt, right? Keeping all that coronavirus out, trying to open the door, go in there. I swear I washed my hands 5 times in the doctor's office. Doctor had on a mask, nurse had on a mask. Kind of scary stuff. So anyway, my mom took the test. They did the flu, they did pneumonia. Both of them came back negative. So they're like, oh, we're worried. So they put her on a breather, right? Because she had shortness of breath, which was really scary. And they said, look, if it gets worse, right to the emergency room. And, in our county in Oklahoma, Cleveland County, it had a really disproportionately high number of deaths already at that point, right? I think it hit a nursing home or something like that. In any case, so there we were, and they go, okay, it's Saturday. The test results for COVID-19 are not going to come back till Wednesday. My God, those days were so long. Immediately I thought maybe I've been exposed, so we just shut the office down. We didn't have to. We're essential. So I was at home. Everybody was at home. I'm like, oh my God, did I get close to these guys? A couple of my folks have little kids, all that sort of stuff. Worried to death for my parents who have now, are on other sides of the room. Now the deal, my mom's 82, my dad's 82 also. My dad's had a stroke and he can't use one of his hands, so he can't open stuff. So we got to come over and open stuff. And me and my daughter Gabby are over there Lysol and everything, making sure it's all cool and clean. And we're worried we're there, right? And we're worried, what this whole thing's going on. Anyway, greatest news, on Wednesday, the test results came back, and against all odds, my mom tested negative for coronavirus, so things came out. Are these tests really negative? But her fever went away. She's feeling great. She's back at it. It's good stuff. So yesterday we went over. We buy them groceries. Me and Pam went over there, gave them some groceries, a bottle of wine. My mom was already having one. It was fantastic. The lightness in the house was unbelievable. So can you imagine? Thinking you have this virus and then you don't. It was there. Even those days coming, we're like, well, she's saying if I do have it, doesn't feel that bad. I'm doing okay, right? And we're like, oh, maybe that's even better news. Like, hopefully you do have it. That way, that you're one of the people that's surviving. But she's the first person that I'd met that I knew that had it, and that's kind of weird in these day and age. So hey, I see Misty Brown Fridkin's there, and Kim Dade Torres showing up again. Hi Kim, how are you? Kim runs a great catering service, and Nosh up in Moore, Oklahoma. It's always great to see her. She's a great person. We're talking about coronavirus. We're talking about immigration, all the elements of that. We were talking earlier about how, I don't know if I finished on this, the E2 visa, the investors, that they can get the payment protection plan. At least the banker of my client said he could do it, and that was really exciting. So look, if you have questions about immigration, we've been posting these videos which have some immigration in it. Just a little bit, just a touch. And we've been posting articles we've been writing about all this on OnlineVisas.com. Go check it out. You can go to our YouTube channel and like and subscribe that. We appreciate that. We're trying to get more subscribers so we can have a little fun with that, during these tough times. So I've really enjoyed this. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Jon Velie, here I am practicing law in a Hawaiian shirt. I have talked about it. I can probably write this off my taxes. I'm pretty sure this beer, tax-free. Enjoy yours. Tip a cold one. Hug the people you love. I really love seeing my parents. We had masks on, but spending some time with them, we laughed for hours. We thought we were going to put the groceries on the door and run away, but we ended up going in just because we had to see them. And you know what? Time well spent. In these days, treat every day and every person you're with them like it's the last time you're going to see them. Not in a bad way. Not like, oh my God, it's the last time I'm going to see you. But enjoy the time. Don't take things for granted. Love everybody you love with all your heart. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your weekend. Jon Velie, take care.